December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Our West Coast became a potential combat zone. Living in that zone were more than 100,000 persons of Japanese ancestry, two-thirds of them American citizens. Military authorities determined that all of them would have to move.
The majority of America's Japanese finds its highest expression in the thousands who were in the United States Army, created by order of the Secretary of War. The volunteers came from Hawaii. Hundreds of them volunteered while they were in relocation centers. They know what they're fighting against, and they know what they're fighting for. Their country, and for the American ideals that are part of their upbringing. Democracy, freedom, equality of opportunity, regardless of race, creed, or ancestry.
So this monument is really to commemorate their place in our history and the incredible, unpayable debt that we owe them.
Hello and welcome. I'm David Ono, and I am honored to be with you all to celebrate this very special event, the Gopher Oak Monument 26th anniversary. As a member of Gopher Oak's National Education Center's Board of Directors, it's exciting to be a part of this year's virtual tribute. No matter how many times they talk about the Japanese American soldiers of World War II, it is always a personally moving and humbling moment. So I thank you for joining us today and for helping us collectively honor their undeniable courage, patriotism, and service. The story of young Japanese Americans who served to protect our freedoms and liberties despite being denied their civil liberties is a vital American story. We are committed more than ever to diligently preserve and broadly share their Gopher Oak spirit and legacy. We know, however, our efforts would not be possible without our generous supporters. So we want to thank all of the Monument Anniversary sponsors and Veteran Floral Tribute and Honor Veteran Digital Tribute donors. I am also delighted to be joined today by the chair of the Gopher Oak National Torchbearers, Kendra Motoyasu. And Kendra, welcome.
Thanks, David. And it's an honor to be here with you too. Monument Anniversary is a time to recognize when our modest but determined Nisei veterans presented the Gopher Oak Monument to the City of Los Angeles on June 5th, 1999. Their hope was that the monument would forever stand as a reminder of the 33,000 young Japanese American men and women who were willing to serve our nation at all costs. Our nation continues to face threats to racial equality, civil liberties, and social justice. These challenges underscore the urgency and purpose of our work at Gopher Oak National Education Center.
We're a tiny but mighty team. Each and every one of us here has a sense of great responsibility and a sense of passion.
In my time learning and volunteering with Gopher Oak, I have seen how the monument means so many things to so many people. It is the embodiment of our veterans' World War II legacy. It is also a current reminder to all of what courage and service really means. It is an inspiration for future generations to continue to strive and make our nation live up to its promise.
And I could not agree more with your statement, Kendra. The monument has stood proudly for 26 years, ensuring that contributions of our Nisei soldiers are not forgotten. It truly has inspired so many people and will continue to inspire many generations. Often, I'm asked how the Gopher Oak Monument came to be. It's a fascinating story in itself, so let's take a look at how it all began.
500 proud members of the 442nd Infantry Regiment, mostly American-born Japanese, swings down Constitution Avenue in Washington for another ceremony in their honor. There are 3,600 Purple Hearts in this outfit, earned in the bitter battles of Salerno and Anzio. These soldiers, true Americans.
They were just so special, a true generation of gentlemen.
Buddy used to say, you know, we have to build a monument for the 104th, and it was Buddy's idea. And I keep telling him all the reasons why we couldn't do it. He said, you're smart, that's why you're a colonel. You build this monument.
Some people thought it was not right to build a monument to themselves, so there was some conflict, but they thought they have a unique story.
Rarely has a nation been so well served by a people it had so ill-treated.
Sacrificing their lives while at the same time many of their family members are held in concentration camps.
All the veterans and the wives came every single Monday and for a meeting, and Colonel Kim would usually lead the meeting, and staff, we would report. It was always about having the food after.
This monument will be key to get all units of 100 442 MIS.
My earliest memory was my father telling us to tell our friends if their fathers were in the service to please submit their names so that their names could be forever printed on this monument.
Colonel Kim would sit in the office and he would write all these letters to friends, to comrades, to LA City Council members.
He was very tenacious. We used to have a little snack shop down on the second floor in City Hall, and I do have memory of him sitting down there holding court as people passed by and lobby them.
Whether he was talking to other veterans or families, wherever he was, he had the same consistent message.
It's an American story, because these people were Americans.
I was able to get $500,000 for the organization, and I was able to get $1 million the following year.
This site was going to be the center of attention coming from City Hall and then looking south to Little Tokyo to the rest of LA.
Building of the monument was led by Tetsu Sato and Colonel Kim. It was a challenge.
At the time, I really didn't know what the project was. I had never heard of the Go for Broke Foundation.
Bruce stepped up to the plate. He was the contractor that built the monument. It was an interesting construction.
They already purchased the granite. And I said, wait a minute, you guys bought the granite before you even know how it's going to get built? I said, isn't this kind of working backwards?
Colonel Kim, being a colonel, set in stone benchmarks that he wanted to reach, and he just tossed it out to Bruce and said, get it done.
The stories I heard from them, when we were building this, I mean, the lost battalions and all these little stories that they have, I mean, none of us ever knew those even existed.
Bruce's devotion to the monument, his passion for that got it to the point of completion.
I saw him in Rome. I was a sergeant then. Someone pointed and said, that's the gutsy, crazy Korean, Captain Kim. He was already a legend.
It was so beautiful that I wanted to cry. They had worked so hard and so long, and I was happy for them because so many of them had lived long enough to see it come to fruition.
The monument is something that these men richly deserve.
There are so many smiles on the veterans' faces, and then I remember all the families that came, right? Their pride. That's what made it worth it. That was the joy.
So let us also take a moment to recognize the Nisei women who served in the Women's Auxiliary Corps, Army Nurse Corps, and Cadet Nurse Corps. They too answered the call to serve and prove their loyalty to their country.
For those who have not visited the monument in person, the striking black granite contains the names of over 16,000 Nisei soldiers and their officers who served overseas in World War II. Carved above the names are 60 U.S. Army patches from the units under which the Nisei soldiers served. Prominently figured on the sloped face of the monument is the Nisei soldiers' battle cry, "Go for Broke," and the insignias of the 100th Infantry Battalion, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, the Military Intelligence Service, the 522nd Field Artillery Battalion, the 232nd Combat Engineer Company, and the 1399th Engineer Construction Battalion. Below the insignias are the words of the 100th Battalion veteran Ben Tamashiro and the quotes from President Truman, President Reagan, General MacArthur, and Major General Charles A. Willoughby.
As a young girl, I remember coming to the monument with my grandpa, Jimmy Murata. He was a MIS veteran.
Whenever I'd call home, my mom would say, you know, your dad's down at the monument. With his two friends, Ken Acuna and George Fujimori, they called them the Three Musketeers.
Kind of being a docent, wanting to share the story with whoever would take the time to come by.
As a matter of fact, I was at the monument and Colonel Kim was here. And he took me on the backside of this monument and pointed out a buffalo. So the thing that runs through my mind was, oh, Buffalo Soldier. And he says, no, it had nothing to do with that. He said, that buffalo represents the command under which all of the segregated units were placed. I didn't know that.
As you can see, the Gopher Oak Monument was the pride and joy of the Nisei veterans. But for 25 years, it sat alone in the middle of a parking lot. The veterans, however, they had a vision and an ambitious plan, even if it would take several decades to come to fruition.
The original vets, they had the idea, no, that's a developable piece of land that we can build something next to it.
They wanted it to be a destination.
We received a $2 million grant to build the initial standalone building out by the monument. The economy was changing quite a bit, so we put that on hold, and I'm glad we did.
The monument was kind of the anchoring point of the organization, the focal point of our efforts. One being, you know, the lease became a very valuable commodity in downtown, and we were able to leverage that with Little Tokyo Service Center.
We were approached by Gopher Broke to develop the Educational Center, Interpretive Center right next to the monument. Not only push the project forward, but actually expand it so that it can have that much more impact on Little Tokyo. So we took this quite bold action to put the motion forward in City Council to literally triple the size of the lease and pass City Council unanimously.
Our main focus as architects is to listen. And there were a lot of voices on this project. So not only building specific needs important, but the larger community context is important.
For me to start the project, it was how the building will talk to the monument. And that was very important to me because I felt like the monument was kind of the heart of the project.
This is the first expansion of Little Tokyo in my lifetime. It says, we're not going away. We're going to rebuild. We're going to expand. Everyone is going to be welcome in this community.
A reaffirmation of the vibrancy and really the thriving population we have in our community.
In February 2024, Gopher Broke National Education Center, along with our partner Little Tokyo Service Center, officially broke ground for the Gopher Broke Plaza, an innovative mixed-use development that combines affordable housing, legacy businesses, and a permanent new home for Gopher Broke National Education Center. And this is an additional footprint to our current Defining Courage exhibit in the historic Nishi Hongwanji Buddhist Temple.
Wow! Can you believe we're finally here? Amazing. If my father and his friends were here today, they would be so proud to see this as a culmination of their vision. It's fulfilled. They would be proud knowing that their dreams would continue forward. But they would also be so proud to know that their sacrifices and their efforts were not in vain.
This project was shaped by and for the community.
It's going to change the landscape of this block that had been a vibrant part of Little Tokyo.
An added key aspect is that the plaza will provide 248 affordable housing units for individuals and families, including a quarter of the units that will be made available to veterans. As a torchbearer, I feel privileged to be part of this transformative time in our organization, and more importantly, have the chance to help fulfill the veterans' dreams.
Kendra, you're absolutely right. You know what is equally significant is that the $168 million funding for this project was raised through affordable housing tax credits thanks to the efforts of Little Tokyo Service Center. This unique public-private and nonprofit partnership is a model for other communities to replicate. What this also means is that all of the funds that we raise go directly to support our educational programming and outreach. To continue the Nisei veterans' hopes for a more perfect union, we remain committed to thoughtfully bring the Japanese American soldiers' story of World War II to new audiences, to multicultural and intergenerational audiences from across the nation.
We brainstormed to see where we feel like those community spaces would be best used.
To make the connections between the past and contemporary issues of social justice and democracy.
The similarities are the struggles in order to prove that we are American and that we do deserve to be here.
Our veterans would be proud to know that we're not just here to talk about the history and the legacy, but we're doing very actionable things with that legacy too. Thinking about new ways that we can
transform our new building into a versatile space for local, national, and international events, town halls, workshops, performances.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Visiting exhibits, community events, and so much more.
Your last samurai.
Upgrading to state-of-the-art technology will widen our reach worldwide through forward-thinking programming.
The Go for Broke Plaza symbolizes our gratitude to the veterans who came before us.
Seeing the Hanashi Oral Archives, I saw my grandparents, and I saw what it meant to them to fight for this country. Sorry, I lost my last grandparent this year, so I would say thank you.
They were the greatest generation. They gave us the foundation for us and our future lives.
We also will be adding a monument wall of service to list the additional 16,000 names of veterans, men and women, thus honoring all Japanese Americans who served in the military overseas and stateside.
I can't even explain in words how important this is for our future.
The Go for Broke Plaza will be a go-to destination to congregate, debate, and engage in the strength and frailties of our democracy through the Japanese American experience. It's the embodiment of an American legacy and a commitment to a future where we continue to embrace diversity, freedom, and equality.
Little Tokyo historically always served as an entry point for immigrants. This project is really a reflection of that.
The monument has been out here by itself. Now with the new building coming up, it's the star of the show.
And we're overjoyed that it will provide the kind of setting that this monument deserves.
And it's very symbolic. For us, it really is that telling of that next chapter. You know, we have another generation on the way, and I think we got a couple names going.
Well, it's really just one name, but he has a name. Reagan?
Torchy?
Reagan.
The torch bearer?
Reagan.
Torchy, the torch
No,
bearer?
no.
You sure?
Okay. Oh yes, Lindsay, Torchy. I love that name for the baby. Hello everyone, I'm Mitch Mackey, and I serve as president of Go for Broke National Education Center. What you have just seen and heard is that the monument means so much to so many. The monument embodies the past contributions of our veterans during and after the war. The monument guides our present work of sharing the legacy of our World War II veterans and instilling the values of courage, patriotism, and service in our audience. And the monument inspires future generations of all backgrounds in our nation to work toward upholding America's promise. The promise that in our nation, no one should be judged by the color of one's skin, the nation of one's origins, or the faith that one chooses to keep.
I hope that our students are able to kind of see themselves in some of the history
so that they can connect it to their lives, the lives of their families.
These are turbulent times in our nation, and we are seeing actions like the reactivation of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, which echoed the constitutional violation that occurred in World War II. We have seen the taking down and attempted erasure of the stories of American soldiers from diverse backgrounds, including our own Japanese American soldiers. And we have also felt the impact of governmental actions resulting in the cutback or elimination of funding sources for nonprofit organizations. Throughout this time of uncertainty, we at Go for Broke National Education Center have continued to do the work that is so important to our community and to our nation. Our traveling exhibit, Courage and Compassion, continues to travel across the nation. The exhibit has been to 14 cities, and most recently, it had an 11-month run at the Idaho State Museum in Boise, Idaho. This exhibit shares the story of the incarceration of the Japanese American community during World War II, and how, from out of these camps and the islands of Hawaii, the American sons and daughters of Japanese immigrants would choose to serve in the U.S. military. Additionally, the exhibit shares how Americans in the local region in which the exhibit is visiting supported the Japanese American community. These were Americans who chose to do the right thing in a time of crisis. In order to truly preserve the legacy of the Japanese American veterans, we need to engage and inspire young adults who are our future leaders. Our National Torchbearer program just concluded its third annual spring convening in the Little Tokyo district of Los Angeles. The torchbearers came from across the country: Maui, Oahu, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Denver, Chicago, and Vermont. Inspired by the experience of the World War II Nisei soldiers,
I'm so pleased that you all are here to talk about how the past connects to the present.
Our torchbearers explored contemporary societal issues and how best to become civically engaged and effect positive change. You can see, too, that they seem to have a pretty good time doing so.
There's a rumor that the social workers now want to inject humor. I can understand why you want to be funny, because, hey, yo, bro, you don't make no money.
Our Go for Broke Journalism Institute will soon begin its 4th year of working with local students from the Downtown Business Magnates High School. Through this program, young high school students are introduced to the Japanese American veteran story and given first-class journalism instruction from professional journalists from the LA Times, the Washington Post, New York Times, and KABC television. At the end of the summer, students create a journalistic piece which ties the lessons and experiences of World War II with contemporary issues.
My project was called Immigration in Our Lives. It was about the struggles that my dad went through to prove his worth as an American, just like the Nisei veterans did.
And, of course, we are busy preparing for the opening of the Go for Broke Plaza, which is scheduled to open in late 2026. I was speaking to a friend of mine, Chris Komai, about what this project means to Little Tokyo, to the city of Los Angeles, and to those inspired by the veteran story. Chris looked at me and simply said, "The veterans took care of us 85 years ago, and they continue to take care of us today." Courage, belief in equality, service. These are the lessons that the veterans left for us today. These are the values that are the foundation of our work at Go for Broke National Education Center. Courage to believe that we can achieve a more perfect nation. A nation built on the belief that all people are equally protected under the law. A nation in which service to others is the driving value. The veterans demonstrated these values 85 years ago. It is now our turn to make sure these values remain alive and well. If you believe that the Nisei Veterans Legacy embodies these values, If you agree that these values are critical to the future of our nation, then I humbly ask for your support. Please consider making a donation today to Go for Broke National Education Center. Like other nonprofits, we are challenged by the decreasing private and governmental resources, and we need the generosity of our supporters to give what you can in order for us to keep our foundation strong and be able to keep evolving our work and outreach across the nation. There are two easy ways to do so. One, you can go to our website, goforbroke.org, and hit the donate button. Or two, you can use this QR code to make your gift right now. Plus, in order to expand our veteran tributes, you can still make an Honor a Veteran digital tribute, as we have extended the submission deadline to June 30th. Either way, you will be providing vital funds that we need to ensure that our work of preserving the veteran's legacy and using it to inspire critical guiding values continues. Please show your support and give today. And I thank you for that support. Okage-sama de. Because of our veterans, we are. Because of you, we will continue to be. Together, we can make a difference and fulfill the vision and dreams of our courageous veterans.
The work of Go for Broke National Education Center is absolutely critical to our nation right now. We want to thank all of you for joining us today as we remember the unwavering courage, patriotism, and selfless service of all of our veterans, in particular the Japanese American veterans of World War II. David, it was a pleasure to share this monument anniversary with you, and I appreciate all the work that you do to keep this story and legacy alive.
And Kendra, thank you for joining me and for your leadership with our National Torchbearers. It is the responsibility of all of us, but I'm especially inspired by the continued growth and diversity of our torchbearers. So please continue to carry on this Go for Broke spirit. And on behalf of the Nisei veterans and their families, we again want to thank all of our Monument Anniversary supporters. I again ask all of you watching to make a gift so we can keep their legacy alive and relevant. We will see you on September 27th for our 24th annual Evening of Aloha Gala Dinner. Please be safe and well. And as we leave you today, we share some singular words that describe the monument's significance.
One word that would represent the monument is perseverance.
Honor.
Courage. Togetherness. Hope.
Building.
Emotions.
Enduring.
Teach.
Responsibility.
Commitment.
Spirituality.
Resilience.
Patriotism.